So hi, everybody. I'm calling everybody that I was just calling to tell them to hang out. And I got to call them back and say that we're good. Oh, I see we have David. I don't have to call David. So David's on.
Hello.
Hey there, Ed. So Zoom is back.
Same thing?
No, we're up. Everybody's in.
Okay.
Or people are joining anyway. So, okay. See you soon. Thanks. Bye. Okay. And Bill, I guess you're there. Oh, I don't know whether Bill's there. He might be on mute.
Probably started and left and went to get dinner, like we should all be wanting to do.
Well, he got us on, so we're well,
nice.
we actually have a quorum, and Ed is going to join us, so we're going to have a quorum plus. Jude will not. I did not hear from Michael. Thank you all for your patience and perseverance, because it's never good when technology fails us, and every now and then it does. And but we like Zoom. Yeah, I was like, yeah, Bill texted me. He left in a hurry. Anyway, yes, let me tell him. Yes, good. Yes, good.
Where's my, oh, here I am up there.
Okay, so we're good. And I got another, okay. I'm just reaching out to everybody that I reached out to before. And I'll just get the group text, and this is really so that Michael gets it. I mean, you guys already know it. Let me see if there's anybody else. Okay. All righty. So I think we had, yeah, we got Connor and Janine and oh yeah, yay. So I'd like to wait just a moment to get Ed. I think I just, yeah, I think my brain's half gone here. I thought I was just talking to Ed, and I thought you just said he was joining.
Hello.
Hey there. So we are back. Are you able to join in?
It says, please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon.
Oh, no. So that's always good. I got to call Bill back because he's the meeting host.
Okay.
Let me.
Yes, Lizzie,
Yeah, he has to let you in. All right, I will let him.
I'm ready. I got it on, and I have a very advanced Macintosh. I have the most advanced. So it's not my Mac.
Yeah. So sounds good. Well, let me get a hold of Bill. Whoops. I'm trying to call Bill. Hey there. So you need to let Ed Sanders in.
Oh,
Yeah, you do. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can make me host. When you're back in the office, make me a host. I'll tell you how to do it. Yeah, and we were recorded. I'll get Ashley to, she can trim until the meeting starts, she can trim. So anyway. Oh, goodness.
Hello.
Hey there. So Bill started the meeting and he had to go back to the office to start the meeting, and then he left. And I just called him up and said, Bill, you got to go back and let Ed in. So
Well, look, if I miss a meeting, it's no big deal.
well, it is a big deal because you're key, and we're trying to get our thoughts together for how to proceed, and you're extremely key to that. So so hang in there because
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm
Okay.
right here.
Well, and keep yourself connected. So as soon as the host lets you.
I am connected.
So yay, and thank you for your patience. Yay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, it's always something. And we'll see whether yeah, I would hope that Bill I would hope that Bill calls me from the office, because then I can tell him how to make me host, and then if anybody else tries to join, I can do it. Oh, I think Ed's joining.
Yep, he's there.
Let me call Bill again before he leaves. Hi. Oh, Bill?
Yes,
Okay. Are you at your computer?
I am.
Okay. Do participants, on the bottom, you can click on participants and it gives you a list over to the right.
Yep, I'm there.
Okay. Go to my name and see where it says more. Hover your mouse over my name and see where it says more.
All right, see how that is.
Did you make me oh, I'm the host.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Bye. Oh gosh, Zoom can be fun. Yay. So, okay. So I'm now the host, and if anybody's trying to get in, I should see that. And so we are here. It is 6:53. Sorry for all of this. I'll call it 6:55 because I like to round up. 25, 22. CRC meeting started. Okay, so where we are, and thank you all for your patience, because it took a lot of patience. As we know, we don't have Jude, so let me just write absent. We don't have Jude, and we don't have Michael. We do have present. We do have Jeff, Ed, David, and Connor. We also have as guests. We have Weston, and we have Janine. And Janine, I did see your chat that said that you had no microphone, but that you can listen in. So, so we're good on that. But Janine, I will tell you my cell phone number. My cell phone number is 845. I don't know if you got your pen ready. 845-943-0650. I'm on my cell today. So there she is. So if you want to say anything, you can call me. So, okay. So I think that we are, I think we can start moving here. And let me move my laptop over. Spot for the mouse, spot for the laptop. I'm here. Let me bring up the agenda. And let me share my screen. Okay, so the plan today is a regular meeting. Last time was a work session with Andrew Campanelli. Today the plan is a regular meeting. I'll go over a meeting status, minute statuses. You got everything except for the list at the top. And someday I will actually ask you all to approve those, but haven't yet. I'll give you the status of the laws in progress, but we'll spend most of the time on regulating wireless. I did put in the agenda, well, the next meeting, of course, would be 2 weeks from now, May 9th. And then I put the dates that we're not going to meet. There are dates that I'm not available. And I figured if I give you all a choice that you'd rather just as soon skip a meeting rather than have somebody else run a meeting. If those times that I'm not available, somebody does want to run a meeting, we can reinstate those meetings, but unless people disagree, I'm planning to just not have meetings the dates that I'm not available. So I put that in the agenda so we can keep track of those, and then future meeting plans, and then at some point we'll adjourn. So do I have anybody who's willing to make a motion to adopt the agenda? We have.
Well,
We have Jeff.
Motion.
You'll make a motion. Does anybody second it?
I'll second it.
Yay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yay, passed. Okay, very cool. Okay, now, so I'll run through what's here. Status of the law is in progress, just so that everybody knows what's going on. Housing Oversight Task Force bi-weekly meetings continue. We've added meetings besides those. When we have the law ready, it will be shared with the town board first, and then presented at a town board meeting to everybody. All committees can come at the same meeting to do that. So we don't have a date yet for that, but we are working well on that. Water supply protection, just to let everybody know, I had this in the agenda last time, but we never went through the agenda. We just did the work session with Andrew. So just so that everybody knows, the Water District Wellhead Protection Overlay team has officially finished its work. And I did send the updated proposed law map and supporting documentation to the town board, and you all got it as well on March 31st. And the town does plan, Bill McKenna's plan is in the month of May, and hopefully in the first meeting in May, which would be, let me get my calendar up. So our first town board meeting in May would be May 10th. The hope is May 10th then to get the town board to agree that we can send this to the Woodstock Planning Board and the Ulster County Planning Board. So that's the plan on that it's moving along well. So what we're doing with regulating wireless is there's nothing on here to really talk about. There's future meeting plans, but we'll figure those things out. But I think we're going to be working on regulating wireless for a while. So what I'd hope to do in today's call, there are several things. One is what I sent out on Friday, which did not give people a lot of time to review a 48-page document, but I was going to go over what my questions are in it today. But I know that I plan to read it again from start to finish, because there were a lot of changes. And what I sent everybody on Friday is I sent the marked up copy because Ed marked it up, I marked it up, Andrew Campanelli marked it up. There were all these markups and change. The word change was turned on. And so I went through, and it took a lot of hours. I actually got the document from Andrew last Monday, but I wasn't able to jump on it right away. And when I did jump on it, it took a lot of hours to accept everything, read everything, accept everything, because even if there was just a format change, like I indented it here, that was another change that had to be accepted. So by the time I was done, I accepted a lot of changes. And because there were so many changes accepted, and if all I sent was the marked up document, I could have sent that out on Monday when I got it, but I didn't do that because I didn't think it was a useful document. I didn't think it was useful until I cleaned it up. And by having the clean document, I also sent you the marked up document. So anybody reviewing it, if you look at something in the clean document and you say, where did that come from? You can go back in the marked up document and you can see where it came from. And if there's anything that I did not incorporate properly, you could tell me. So the clean document is the one that I'm hoping everybody looks at from start to finish. I know I had hoped to do that before this meeting, and that didn't work out. So it's still on my to-do list to read the updated document from start to finish, because now that it's all cleaned up, there may be a few loose ends here and there that still need to be cleaned up. I think generally it's looking great, but we want it to be 100% clean before it goes back to the town board. So I know I still want to read it from start to finish. And I don't know if anybody got a chance to read it from start to finish since Friday, but it's okay if you didn't, because I'm figuring that what we'll do at our next meeting, I will have had a chance to read it from start to finish, and we'll go through any comments I have and plus anything anybody else has at that time. So that's my plan for the version of the law that I sent out on Friday. I will ask, did anybody on this call get to read it from start? Did you even get to start on it? Let's put it that way. Did anybody read what I sent you on Friday? I'm hearing silence unless somebody's on mute. But I'm hearing silence. Let me go see if oh, and there's a way. No, there's not a way for me to. There we go. Ed's on mute. So Ed, if you said you read it, I didn't hear it because you're on mute. No. You might want to come off mute, Ed, because you're on mute. But it's okay if you do or don't.
Hi, hello.
Yes, hi, I can hear you.
I started reading and I'm right in I'm finishing a book, so I have a time problem, but I intend to read through line by line, word by word, comma by comma, the new version, and I'll
Perfect.
be up to speed very soon.
Okay, and I plan to do the same thing. So Ed and Laura, so Ed and I are both are both in progress, and I'm hoping to have that done by our next meeting. So target by next meeting. Okay. All righty, sounds good. And I have it printed out. So Ed, we can do the same thing we did before, where you mark it up, like turn on changes or put comments. You mark it up, but either do both, right? Track changes and put comments in. And then I'll add my comments to yours, because I'll be marking mine up on a hard copy document. When you have yours, I can add mine. And that worked out really well last time, because that way we had both of our stuff in. But I'll let you go first.
I'll do that. I'm not a word guy, but I just signed on. I have to pay these people a monthly fee, but I've got a full current Word, so I'll mark it up like last time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And I'm not gonna touch the hard copy document until I've gotten your markup, but I'll have mine all marked up in my hard copy, and then I can type them in like I did before. I think it's going to be a lot less than it was before. So I think because we cleaned up a lot. But I appreciate your combing through it, and I plan to do that. So the next thing I do want to, I'll go back and show my questions on that, but before I open up that document. So the other thing is, Andrew had sent us back on March 3rd, and I resent this to everybody on April 20th, on Friday, when I sent these other two documents, the one that was all marked up and the one that's clean. I also resent what he sent us for Appendix 1 and Appendix 2. So one of the two, I forget which one, is Appendix 2. Appendix 2 is 2 pages long. Appendix 1, which he sent in a PDF file that you can't even mark up, and I may ask him for another one in Word. Appendix 1 is 66 pages long, 66. I did email Andrew Campanelli, and I said, what was your plan with Appendix 1 and Appendix 2? Is it your idea that they get filed as part of the law? They're actually appendices to this law. And he said, yes. So I didn't look at all at, I read through Appendix 1, Appendix 2, the 2-pager. I didn't feel like printing off a 66-page document, but I may have to do that because I like to review things. Go ahead, Ed.
It raises a fundamental question. This telecommunications section is a section of the zoning law, and yes, he's treating it as if it were an ordinance, or he didn't use the word law, but law is different. Right. You know, it's a separate law. So the town board has to work with Mr. Campanelli and decide whether this is going to be a separate law for the town of Woodstock, or will be incorporated in the zoning law. Now, the zoning law does have appendices, sort of like the schedule right. of use regulations.
Sure.
But this is a giant.
It's a giant appendix.
Especially the smaller one refers to a court. Anyway, it's a legal opinion. You know, right. So do we want a legal opinion attached to a zoning law, or even to a separate law? I mean, the town board has to decide whether it wants this thing, as Mr. Campanelli seems to be urging, as a separate law. I don't see
right.
why it has to be, because it's part of a package of regulations having to do with land use. So it's proper to have it part of the zoning law, but maybe not these huge appendices.
Okay.
So you might want to reference the pen, like you do, like you're doing with the water protection.
Oh, do it as built.
you refer to the map that's in the clerk's office. And in this case, you could refer to the appendices that are either in the planning board office or the clerk's office.
Right. I like that.
Or to have it as a PDF that could be, if an applicant wants to know, you could have the planning board clerk or the town clerk email to the applicant
Right.
those appendices.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, that's a really good point. Zoning. Okay, so we have to give it some thought to that, and I need to review them, but we need to give thoughts to that. But what I like about that is, and even just like because, and I kind of would relate it to with the water law, where we have the Horsley-Witten report and we have the Winkley report, and those are part of the as-built file that we say, well, here's the law, but if you want to dig deeper, reference these other two documents, because this is kind of the base of where the law came from. So either the as-built, or like you say, like the map that you say, if you want to refer to it, yeah, or like the map. Analogy. Okay, excellent point. Okay, so those are really good thoughts on there. And the other thing that I think I'll show you my questions in the law, and then we'll go to the other thing. I tried to start to write down some next steps of what do we need to do. We're going to have a to-do list. For example, community outreach is a thought. Maybe we just, when the law goes through and maybe just goes to public hearing, like laws sometimes do. This is Connor. I wouldn't normally get it, but it's Connor.
Wants to get let back in, I think, Lori.
Hi, Connor. Oh, I need to admit you. Sorry. All right. I just admitted you. Thanks. Bye. Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't have my participants up, so I couldn't see that. Thank you. Okay. So we have some decisions to make. Do we want to just let the community outreach happen when we have the public hearing? That's when the community gets to come in. But we've learned on different things, having community outreach sometimes can be helpful. One of the notes that, as I was writing up the minutes, I'm realizing that Andrew said the town probably wants to be hiring an RF engineer to do the random RF radiation testing. The building inspector might want to create a form. So these are the notes that I had made, but I think that it's good for us. And we did this with the water law as well. We had a to-do list. Here's the law, here's the supporting materials. And oh, by the way, here's our to-do list. There's some other things that we need to do. So that's kind of the same thing here. I think it's going to have a to-do list. The other thing, training the planning board, Andrew offered to help. So that's something on the to-do list. And think about the escrow, because whoever the applicants are, we should have some idea of what the escrow ought to be. Or maybe it's just the planning board's regular escrow, but maybe it should be a different escrow because this is probably a bigger deal. So anyway, I wanted to have a conversation about next steps and what we need to do. But I think the next step is going to—
One other thing.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
There's a new, isn't Buster taking over?
Butch.
Butch is taking over as the zoning enforcement officer.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So maybe he was good on administering the short-term rental law.
Yes.
I mean, very attentive to detail. So it might be important somehow to have Butch to have Campanelli preparing for this. I think Butch has the kind of mind that can handle this level of detail. This thing can be very complicated for a zoning enforcement officer.
Right. I'm going to put it right in here as if I'd already done it, which I didn't, of course, as you know. But,
I don't know. I don't know what Campanelli charges. Maybe he would do it as a as a pro bono publico thing to prepare the new enforcement officer who's stepping into a whirlwind as it is.
Right.
This is the
Well,
prime building season right now.
yeah. Well, he had said, I know he had said, he was the one that said training the planning board, but training the building inspector, I agree with you. It's, you know, right there. Absolutely. Because both of them are critical. So yes, I've added that there. Very good. Any other thoughts people want to talk about there? Weston, yes, go ahead.
Yes. So is Andrew Campanelli, will he be afforded the opportunity to review the document before it goes to the town board?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be copying him. I sent him the clean document. When I cleaned it up, I sent that to him. I think I probably sent him, well, he sent me, he already had the document that he had updated, right? Because Ed made comments, then I made comments, then Andrew made comments, and that's the document I cleaned up. So he already had the one that I was working, you know, that I had to clean up. And I sent him the cleaned up document, including my questions, and then he answered some of my questions. So yes, I'm planning to make sure he gets a copy of everything that we do, so that if we get off track, he can let us know. I'm keeping him in the loop.
Okay. And then secondly, has the town or the planning board decided on who the officer, the point officer will be to, you know, I suppose Butch will get it, and then will he hand the application over to the planning board? And then there should be some point officer who will be specializing in wireless, maybe Stuart, to process these to make sure that the applications are complete.
Well, okay, the couple things there. So I was in the building department, and I asked if that's the right department that gets these applications, because of course they've already gotten a couple of applications. And I spoke with Angela in the building department. She said, yes, they get it. So what I do want to show, and what I added in here, and I think it's page 13. There we go. Okay, and this is the table that I added, and I wanted people's opinion on all this, but anyway, so the order of events is, it comes in, and I put this table in, which is, I just pulled it from the information that Andrew had already written, but it comes in the door, the building inspector gets it. I confirmed with Angela, yes, indeed, it is the building inspector that gets it. So the application is received by the town, and it's received by the building inspector. So the building inspector, and there's 4 types of applications, but going by type 1, they have 10 days to confirm whether or not it's complete or incomplete. If it's incomplete, they have 10 days to say it's incomplete. They can still say it's incomplete after 10 days, but what Andrew said is, if they do that, the shot clock does not stop. So if they want to stop the shot clock, they have to let the applicant know within 10 days of receiving it that it's stopped. So it is the building inspector that gives the notice of incompletion, not the planning board. So the building inspector gets it, and then if there's additional materials that are incomplete, they have 10 days to review that. But the town has a total from the date the application is received by the town. This is the shot clock days that the planning board needs to give their response. And some of these days are chewed up because the building department has it before they give it to the planning board. And sometimes can get chewed up with the back and forth between the building department and the applicant. So, but these are the days. And that was the concern that I raised with Andrew last time, 2 weeks ago when he was at our meeting. And he said that if you've done your due diligence, you can extend the shot clock if you have these extenuating circumstances, like the applicant gives you dribs and drabs and every day they give you something new, that's not a good thing. So in any event, according to Andrew, it's the building inspector that makes the decision of the incompleteness decision. And then the building inspector would give it to the planning board. And then the planning board would have it. And the planning board would have the shot clock run out based on the date the building inspector got it. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Given that Butch could be overwhelmed with work, it doesn't feel good. I mean, one of these could slip through. I mean, it would almost behoove us to have a volunteer at the building department who knows this stuff, that can either say, you know, Butch, you got to pay attention here, or I don't know, or.
Well, I understand that Butch, I'm using the word manager because, you know, Ellen was the lead, Butch is the lead. Butch is not the only person in that department. They've got Kristen and they got Angela. So Butch, as the lead of that department, will have to figure out how to make sure nothing slips through the cracks, because he may be responsible for it, but it may be, maybe he trains Kristen or maybe he trains Angela. Because I agree with you, we can't let anything slip through the cracks, but it's up to, you know, Butch doesn't necessarily have to do everything that has to get done. That's why it's a team of 3 people in the building department. But he'll be the lead and he'll be responsible for making sure it all gets done. But I wouldn't say he's the person. Ed, are you raising your hand?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I haven't read the new version of the law, so I'm assuming there's a method of getting advice on the part of the town, whether it's through the board or through the zoning enforcement officer, to get additional advice and help. And the applicant ought to be required to fund certain legal ways that the town needs to explore to control what's happening. So I don't know if it's in the law. That's one of the things I'll really look for when I go through the law again. The ability of the town to secure advice when a very complicated proposal is presented to an overworked zoning enforcement officer.
Right.
I mean, I think Weston has got his finger on the pulse.
Right. Okay. Allocation fund does law. Well, and that's a good thing. And that's the other thing too, is I'm not sure if it talks a lot about escrow, but that's a very good point. Okay.
Campanelli, ask him what Calabasas, he wrote the law for Calabasas, California. What does Calabasas, California get, you know, get funds from the telecommunication industry? What's provided a town to protect itself from a really aggressive telecommunications operation? And they are very aggressive, as we know.
Right. Right. Well, and I think some of it, is what we just talked about, which is we need Andrew Campanelli to train the building inspector and the planning board to know what to look out for. I do think it's a good point. And I did make in my notes here, you know, who in the planning board will be the expert, because it would be good if the planning board had an expert. When it goes to the planning board, somebody who can take the lead on it. And it's good to know how to ensure the building department doesn't miss the shot clock, given that they're very busy people. I'm viewing as a team of 3, but maybe Bush doesn't realize as a team that he can call on others. So, and then your point too about what do you do if you have an aggressive.
Well, there's a new attorney on the planning board. What's his name, Weston? You mentioned him.
John Lyons.
There's an attorney.
Is he on the planning board?
Well, he's a planner. He's
no. There's a new member of the planning board that gave really good advice.
Well, Stuart,
for the water protection law. He came up with some really good, and also good advice for the telecommunications law. He's an attorney, and now he's a new member of the planning board.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'll find out. I have him in my notes. I'll isolate him.
Well, we should be able to work in committee.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi there. Yeah, I believe you're talking about Stuart. I mean, he's not.
Yeah, Stuart, that's he.
Stuart Lipkin.
And that's Stuart Lipkin. Yeah, he's a brilliant.
Yeah, Stuart Lipkin, that's his name, yeah.
And he had done a really good job with the last application. I believe he was the one that spoke up and had done the research and gave an excellent, absolutely excellent summary Yeah, it wasn't exactly a concise summary, but it was thorough and it was right on. So he did a fabulous job.
So
I
if
think
if he could be agree to take on this role, I think the town would profit by it.
Sure. Okay. All right. So it sounds good. So we'll go back to where are we? Back to the agenda. Okay. Alrighty. So a lot of good thoughts here. And let me just. Okay. Okay. And then, I think the escrow is another question that I did put in this list of things here, is determine the escrow the planning board should require from the applicant based on type. So escrow is something we should be looking for as we read the law. So, okay. All righty. So all that being said, I'm going to pull up my copy of the law and I'm going to widen my screen. And so the questions that I had, so one of the questions that Ed and anybody else who does, you know, it takes a lot of determination, I would say, dedication and determination to read. It's not the most exciting, it's not a page turner, you know. I spent some time in a book club, and the book club was called the Page Turners. If you get a book that's a real page turner, I mean, you can buzz through it because like you want to know what happens on the next page. I wouldn't call this a page turner, just saying. Anyway, but I greatly appreciate what Ed's doing to read it from cover to cover. I'm going to read it from cover to cover. I appreciate anybody who chooses to read it from cover to cover. I get it that not everybody's going to, and that's okay because everybody's given great input. Even people are giving great input, even if you haven't read it from cover to cover or even read a little bit. It is what it is. But I definitely thank everybody for your thoughts because everybody's giving valuable feedback here. Anyway, so if you go to page 13, I put in this table. This is because I know part of my feedback was I was getting really confused. When you read the next pages, it says if it's type 1, it's a cookbook, this, and this. Type 2, cookbook, this, and this. And I'm thinking, I'd like to see a summary. Can't we have a table that's a summary? And Andrew said, okay, and I provided it. So this is what I provided. And Andrew's feedback was because I provided this summary, and again, this is page 13 and flows into 14, where it's a summary of what's the type of application, and then here's what you would do using the terminology that I used in the table. Then you figure out this table of days allowed response. That's the name of the table. And you go here, table of days allowed for response. You go there, look for this. And then I've got other things, you know, keep referring to the table. You look here, you look there. And I didn't highlight all the titles like notice of incompleteness or whatever, but I put it such that you could kind of just run through it. Although what Andrew did though, is he thought that we should keep the follow-on stuff because type 1 applications, it says pretty much the same thing. And then the same as type 2, pretty much the same thing, type 3, pretty much the same thing. And so I had done a summary by which you wouldn't necessarily need to do all that. But his point was, and I give him credit because he's done, you know, this is his business, right? And so he thought the cookbook approach was right because if you're type 1, anybody who's type 1, he wants the person to be able to just take it and read through the type 1 and not have to read a paragraph and go back to the table, back, forth, just here's type 1. So I like the table. I'm not married to, and I like the summary of the type of applications. I'm not married to these other paragraphs because I agree with Andrew that I was thinking these paragraphs here might replace these, what immediately follows, type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Andrew, I agree with him. He's saying, no, keep all this because if somebody has a type 1, just go to the type 1 section and read through it. So my question to Ed is going to be, and I put here the paragraphs that I added and here, that could be taken out. I think the table should stay and the summary of the types of applications right there should stay. And then they jump to what the type is. So I'm okay if these paragraphs come out. And and I should put a comment here. Well, anyway, I won't put a comment because you've already got it. Anyway, so that's one question that I have is, should these 5 paragraphs, and this is what I've said, I've added the table in the next 6 paragraphs, the first paragraph being type of application. So Ed, you can let me know whether you think these paragraphs ought to come out or whether it's helpful to talk about the big picture. But if we do that, then for one of the types, the shot clock restarts. For 3 of the 4 types, if the stuff's incomplete, the shot clock resumes, and for one of them it restarts. So it may be less confusing just to take out these 5 paragraphs, but I think the table is helpful. So anyway, that's a question that I have. And then I put in my comments here, so you'll see that as you read it, so I put comments here. When I did the cleaned up document, if I just cleaned up what people agreed on in the meeting, I didn't make a comment that I cleaned it up. You'll know I cleaned it up because you can look at the marked up copy and see what I cleaned up. So unless I made a mistake cleaning it up, which if I did, let me know. But I did make, if I changed something that we didn't specifically say in the meeting and that Andrew didn't mark up when the copy he sent back, then I put a comment here to say, hey, I changed it. Because this had said submission, and then I said at the call 2 weeks ago to Andrew, well, define submission, because it should be when, and Angela was right there. She had gotten, she got a piece of paper I was handing her. That's why I was in the building department. She got a piece of paper that I handed her. She stamps it with the day's date. So that's when it's received, gets stamped. So the receipt is when it is. It's not the submission. I was confused. What is submission? What does that mean? I know what receipt means. The building department receives it. They stamp it. That's the receipt. So this said submission. So I changed the wording to match what Andrew said he meant by it, because I said, can you put a definition of submission in the document? He did not. And so I just changed this to say receipt because that's what he defined it. So anytime I made a change based on, I put 2 and 2 together and said, hey, I think it ought to be this way, I put a comment in. If I was just making the change that we all agreed on that was already in the document, I didn't comment it. So that's why I commented that. Okay, so, and then I copied that wording a couple more times. So Ed, you'll see this as you go in, because again, if I made a change based on my judgment, I put a comment in so you would know that it came from me and not from a group decision. And that's kind of all that. And then the last, and then there's just one more thing here. Oh, come on, okay. This one, for some reason, we never cleaned this up. This was kind of like, looked like this, and I didn't make any changes to it. I think that what I did was, I think I fixed the formatting, but I didn't make any changes to it other than that. And it has all these blanks in it. And so I guess, Ed, if you're the one who's going to answer those, I'll just let you fill it in on your copy. Because if I make,
yeah,
okay.
I know this well. I'll do that.
Perfect. Oh, okay. So that was the other thing that was blanks, but I'll just let you. Okay.
But, do you want me to submit the map of the National Registry of Historic Places for Birdcliff? I have that. I received that. I'm on the board of directors for Birdcliff. Cool. So I asked them for the official designation map of the Birdcliff National Registry. And I thought no one up there would want a wireless with telecommunications tower in the National Registry. So I can submit that to you, Laura, if you want to see it.
Well, yes, and I'll make it part of the as-built, because I'm building the as-built set of stuff, and I'll make it part of the as-built.
Okay.
So yay. Yay. Okay. Well, those are the only questions that I had here. So I'm going to go back for a moment to the agenda. So we've really covered everything. Our main topic next time, which will be 2 weeks from today, will be, I'll see if I can get an answer about, and I like, Ed, what you said, that those 2 appendices really ought to be documents made available with the law, but not in the law, because that seems like a little bit of overkill. But we'll do a work session to take a look at any changes that you or I think that there are in the law, because before we really do a deep dive someplace else, I'd like to get this nicely wrapped up so we can get it to the town board. I mean, we can try to multiplex, but this is such an elephant to deal with I'd like to just personally focus on this and this on our next meeting, and then worry about looking at other stuff after the next meeting. That would be my hope, unless somebody has another topic they want us to be talking about at the next meeting, because I don't know how long it's going to take us to close on this, but it depends on how many changes Ed and I both see in it. But then we'll also, I'll have the to-do list that we're building, and we may have more things to add to the to-do list by then. Okay, any other comments anybody had for anything here? I'm going to stop sharing so we can actually see each other. Okay, we have a lot of silent people. Anybody think we should be doing something differently from what we are doing? Okay, does anybody want to adjourn? And I see Janine's back. and
I just wanted to see, thank you. I finally got everything sorted out. Your topics on your future agenda. I was trying to see that and you keep taking that away. So
sorry, I will put that back so that you can see that. And we have no dates for these topics.
Right.
Well, the main thing is finalizing the regulating wireless law, which is what we're working on tonight. That's the first and foremost.
No, I understand that. Yeah, it's a very big project. Yes.
Okay. So status of laws in progress. I kind of, give status of those. Scenic overlay is a piece of work that Connor has been working on with Ed. They've really done a nice job coming along. The scenic overlay law is only about 2 pages long. So they've done a nice job to try to strengthen it a bit, clarify it. So they've shown us 2 iterations of it so far, and we'll get back to that. But I'm looking, in my opinion, we should get back to it, not even try to worry about it next time, but try to worry about the time after that. That's my opinion.
Connor and I have a new version of it, which I sent out today.
Okay.
To you. I sent you a copy and I sent Connor a copy. He and I consulted on it. It absorbs all the comments you receive from the planning board and a number of your own comments.
Okay.
And so it's getting closer to ready to go.
Well, do you want me to try to, because we don't know.
No, we can wait. We can wait.
Okay. So I'll say that's the target. And I'm pulling up my calendar here. Oh, you know what? Am I sharing my screen? I'm not sharing my screen. So I pulled up, I'm sorry. You wanted to see it and I pulled it up and then I forgot to share my screen. That was helpful. So there we go. So I'm telling you what's on it, but now you can actually see it. So the target for the 23rd. So target is 5/23 to go back to scenic overlay. So that's cool. So the Complete Streets Committee gave us a zoning law statement that I sent to everybody back at the end of February. And so at some point we'll pull that back up because they came and presented to this committee because they'd like to see laws strengthened in the way of when people are doing things, let's focus on pedestrian and, Complete Streets says, let's make Woodstock better for motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, and people that are challenged, physically challenged in doing any of those things. So they gave us some things to be thinking about, and so we can pull them back up again. And there's also an NCLI1 law that you can see I last sent to the Zoning Revision Committee January 24th, 2021. So that was over a year ago because the town believed water protection was more important. Telecommunications has been more important. So we didn't get to this yet, but this is a document that the planning board had put together years ago before the comprehensive plan. And they said, and they were told, well, we as a town aren't going to jump into this until we get a comprehensive plan, because it doesn't make sense to go make major changes to 2 of our districts, or 3 as the case may be. We're not going to go make major changes until we know the comprehensive plan. What direction does Woodstock want to go? When we know that, let's come back and then look at it. So the comprehensive plan happened, the zoning revision committee was formed, and we're prioritizing things we're working on. And I think we're doing great because we've got very substantial, important laws that we're generating. And the housing is included in that because 3 members here are on the Housing Oversight Task Force. So the Zoning Revision Committee is well entrenched in the housing law as well. So if you consider the telecommunications law, which we can see is coming along really well, the water protection is great. It's already at the town board, ready to go to the next step. The housing is massive and not ready for town board to get it yet, but it's got a lot of great stuff going on there too. And so then we're going to get this NCLI 1 law and look at it. So that's something that we're going to be doing. And we actually have other things from when the comprehensive plan said, here are the actions that ought to happen. And committees sprung up, Complete Streets sprung up. Housing, I think, was already there. Zoning revision sprung up. There were some other things I think that sprung up as well. And what came out of the comprehensive plan, different things went to different committees. You know, some existing, like the WEC got their list, and these committees that sprung up got their list, and everything that was an action plan for the comprehensive plan got given to an existing or a new committee. And so our list had a dozen things on it, but we're getting to things in order. So we still have some things that are, I think, lower priority because we got the most critical things we're doing first, and things that had less of an impact are still on our list. So we got other stuff, but these are the things that are coming soon before we get to these other things that are less important. I think these are more, you know, the scenic overlay is more important, and the NC and LI we'll be looking at.
Thank
you. Go ahead, Ed.
I have gotten from the clerk's office the entire collection of minutes of the Comprehensive Plan Committee.
Oh, cool.
And I read it through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this zoning proposal for LI and NC is, I wouldn't use the word can of worms, but it has a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to bring them up, but I think if one thing that needs to be done is to propose to the town board that they rezone light industrial to allow a library, that we should send a letter to the town board asking for a zoning change, immediate zoning change, allowing a library in either into the light industrial 1, not the light industrial 2, which is the one across 212, the former bowling alley. But
right.
So I just think if we would solve some of this problem, because this is going to be very, I mean, I'm looking to, not to fight so much, but this is not a good proposal. And there is no record of any vote by the Comprehensive Plan Committee there is absolutely no record of any vote by the Comprehensive Plan Committee to ask for this to be in the zoning law.
Well, so here,
and
here's my, oh, go ahead, Ed.
There are conflicts of interest among a member of the Comprehensive Plan Committee and the proposal for this law, but I don't want to bring it up, but I will if I have to. But I think we can solve this problem immediately is to ask the town board to immediately allow libraries in light industrial districts, period. And then we can duke it out on this, but that will allow the library, if they win this May 10th thing, then they can immediately sail into that and move the library there. I'm not trying to stop that. But I think this other thing, I mean, the residents of Bearsville were not polled on whether they want to do this. I mean, Campanelli was going to allow 150-foot towers to be built in the light district.
Right. So you're raising a lot of good points. Let me just get my notes here. Yeah, okay, and you raised another excellent point. So a couple of things. So first of all, on the library, I know that Bill McKenna has been in touch with Jeff, who was on this call, and Bill is not on this call, even though he started us up. So there's different solutions for how to make sure that the people that Jeff works with on the library know they can proceed. An MOU was one choice, a resolution was one choice. The town board was working on the different choices and didn't get adopted before May 10th, but it will. So people all want to help the library. Everybody on the town board says, yes, we want to make sure that we have a resolution that either a resolution or an MOU. So you're right, Ed, we could do it by a change to the zoning law, but that takes longer because now you're getting into a public hearing and a seeker and this, some of these things are pretty
with
quick.
one public hearing and then vote on the law right after the public hearing. I mean, I remember how I wrote the I wrote this tweaker law, okay? And we passed it after the public hearing, passed it. You don't,
right, okay.
when there's total support on a zoning change, then it greases right through, because I used to do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, so that's a good point. But getting back to the NC and the LI is, we are asked as a body, the zoning revision committee, we are asked as a body to weigh in on that. And so when we get to it, I know on the one hand you say, I don't want to be nasty about it. You don't have to be nasty about it. You can just be honest about it and say you don't support it, which you just did. But I think that we should give an official position on it. So our official position on it may be that we as a body believe that it should not proceed. That can be our official position, but we haven't gotten there yet. We haven't crawled through it yet. So, but I think that we as a body do need to take an official position on it because it's on our list of things to look at. And right now we're the ones holding it up because right now the ball's in our court. And so I would like us to then look at it and take an official position on it. So, but I will take that back to the town board that says maybe we just get that one block on that one table changed and do it in the law and just be done with it.
Just have a public hearing and you can pass it the 10 minutes after you close the public hearing.
Well, I think that there's a process for laws that has more steps than that, but I don't know when the last time was you did it, but I think that anyway, we'll advise. Maybe I can ask Bill McKenna to give you a call and you can tell him what you think the short process is, and he can tell you what process he's currently using. And maybe between the two of you talking it out, maybe we'll have success.
Okay.
I'm just going to say too that I'd like to figure out what's happening with the whole thing too. I mean, obviously I've got a conflict of interest here, but I don't truly understand the controversy about the resolution. I don't truly understand the controversy about the MOU. I'd be happy if they just changed the use table to allow a library in that. That would be great. I don't really want to be involved in the town board's politics because I'm not on the board, but there's stuff happening I don't understand about that. And so I think Ed's suggestion is the simplest, easiest thing to have happen soon. And I kind of support that.
Yeah, okay. So,
I don't see an MOU being passed. I don't see a resolution being passed, not with the animosity that I saw at the last town board meeting when that was discussed.
That was amazing. And actually, it was not the last town board meeting. It was the meeting before that. It was actually the date that will live in infamy. Yes, I have never seen a town board meeting reach that level of intensity is a good word, I guess. And I will tell you that behind the scenes, I've been trying to talk to the people involved because I'm not going to say anything publicly. However, behind the scenes, I have been talking to people to figure out how to work this out. So
I was just laughing because I can remember some town board meetings that were off the charts. David knows what I'm talking about. And this is like 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, or more. But
right.
Anyway, that's another
well,
story.
it was exciting and
that's for the history books.
There you go. So Jeff, I'm with you. It's very odd, but I think that Ed's yeah. So I'll mention to Bill. It would be good that if he and Ed talk about what's the fastest way to get this done, and it might be the fastest way to get it done, all things considered. So there we go. So
yeah, and the reality is, look, New York case law states that a municipal district is not subject to the zoning laws of the town. That's just case law.
Mhm.
And that's what the MOU North the resolution is trying to say at the same time. It's not a big deal for me whether we're part of it or not. I'll follow the zoning laws. I don't care. I just need that one law that prevents the library from being there. The
Right.
setbacks, everything else, we'll do as we'll go do a zoning review if we need to. The building itself is not compliant with zoning codes right now because the setbacks are too close.
Yeah.
But if that's really it. So it would make our life easier. But if the town board can't get it done, we'll do it the old traditional way and go through the process.
Yeah.
It just cost us more money and cost the town more money and cost taxpayers more money. But
yeah, no, I get that. And Jeff, you I think you were watching that town board meeting, right? I support you.
Yeah.
I think I've been very clear that I support the library. I support the library. I support the town board doing what we need to do so that you are free and clear, provided that the people vote. Of course, you need the people to vote your way, but I certainly am fully in support of the town board making it so that you can go that direction if and when the people say yes. So clearly, so looking at this other option is, I think, a good choice.
I mean, the other thing is, assume if people vote yes, then it's a clear indication that the town wants whatever needs to get done.
Yeah.
So, I don't have any problem if the town board waits until after the vote and they see how it goes. I mean, that's also allows them to understand that the feeling within the town. So.
Well, yeah, there you go. So, all right, but we're going to get it done one way or the other. So, okay. Anything else people wanted to talk about before we adjourn? Oh, Connor just came off mute. Connor, were you gonna say anything?
Nope. Just popping back in.
Did you want to make a motion to adjourn?
If you like. So.
Sure. So moved. Do we have any second?
I'll second it.
Yay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. We're clearly making progress. I know Ed and I are both going to read the 48-page document cover to cover, and I thank Ed for that. Anybody else who's able to look at it, that would be great. I think Ed and I are doing a good job with it, with our comments. So I think I will feel confident once Ed has looked at it from cover to cover, and I'll be looking at it too. So, and I appreciate everybody's input on the next steps and the other things we need to think about. So it's all helpful. Okay, so we are adjourning. I'm going to call it 7:45. We're good to go. Thank you all. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.